the girls into my office. And I'll show you a video when I put them in the hive later on today. I'll just keep this screen over. I really don't think there's any way for them to get out, but every time I think that, sometimes I do. Can you hear the girls? So here's my hive by my shed where I do my glass. And I'm just putting my gloves on. I tuck them in. I've had these gloves a long time and the elastic's not very strong anymore. So I just tuck them into my little bee jacket. The bees, that's a package that they came in. And I have to take that top part where that package label is. I'm going to take that off. Most of the time you can use just a screwdriver. Sometimes you have to tap it with the hammer a little bit. We'll see how easy it is today. But you can see it's just popping off for me. And then you can see the can, and that's the can that had sugar water in it. And it still has a little bit in there that it had it so the bees could eat that. I couldn't find the queen in there. So I dumped it a little bit into that second super, and then I found her little container. I was real careful. And so now I'm going to dump more of those bees in there. It's a 3-pound package, so there's probably about 10, 12,000 bees. And I'll put them to the side a little bit, dump some more out. And then I will just let them come into the hive by themselves, the rest of them. I am sitting it on a bucket. The opening is facing the hive. And then I have some drawn comb frames that I'm going to very carefully put in there. I don't want to crush any bees. The queen is protected because she's in that little plastic container that has candy that they will actually eat through, and in about 5 days she'll be ready to come out. So I'm just putting those in carefully. You can see bees on my suit. They're really very docile though. I'm very happy with them. There's some drawn comb so that they don't have to work too hard to get going on their hive. And I'm replacing, I think I took out 4 or 5 of them, and I'm just putting those back in. Then I'm just going to put this top board on top of it. It's just kind of a spacer between the hive and the lid. It has 2 holes in it. The bees can go up into it. And it's a good place for me to put sugar because I don't want to put sugar and sprinkle it just onto the frames. And so for today, I'm going to just put some sugar out there and just sprinkle it around. They can eat that. It's okay. It's cloudy today. It's not windy, but they have to get used to the hive. I don't want them going too far. And I'm going to have a couple different sugar water sources for them. And so I'm just putting the lid on for right now. And the bees that are still in the box can just go back and forth. So my next step is I have to make sure that there's water. So this water, I want the bees that are in the box that they came in to have access to water. So it's a sugar water. It's got rocks in it. You might recognize it. It's what you would feed little baby chicks with. The other one I'll show you in a minute actually will slide into the hive. But it did start to rain, and I didn't want those bees out there, so I put another super on there and just laid that box in there. So I'm mixing up my other sugar water. I like to do it 1-to-1. So half of the jar was sugar, and then I had filled it up with water. And it's just called a bee feeder. It literally will slide into the slot where the bees go in and out. It has some holes, this little plastic that slides into the hive, and the bees can just go in and out from inside the hive so they don't have to worry about anything, and they can feed at night too. So I put a rock there because I don't want the opening very big. And you can see I've had my beehives for a very long time. And might have to do a coat of paint on them this year. But there's lots of, like, these are wild plums right above them. They are in total flower. There's a lot of flowers and shrubs that are flowering right now. I have 2 sources of water, and this is what I'm going to put the feed patties. Tomorrow I'll take that transport box out of that top super, and I'll put this in there where that sugar was. Well, actually just below. I'll put this literally on the frames. I just checked on the girls, and they've settled in. It had rained, and so there was a lot of them inside, of course. Hopefully the sun will break out this afternoon. Otherwise tomorrow it's supposed to be much more sunny, and they'll be out and about, and they'll get used to the yard. The queen, it'll take probably, well, I'll check her at 5 days, because it takes a while for them to eat that candy that in the little tube that she's in, and that way they can get used to the hive, they get used to her. They just keep feeding her through the little slots, and everything will be good. This is Sandy, Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona, and it's going to be a honey year.